Hey everybody, what's up? It's time to check out more art by artist sKitz Kraven. It's perfect for you. She's like singing out of my soul. Sometimes we get lost in our own little world, but it's all so much bigger than we realize. I'm going to check out Momma's Husband. I'm a little nervous because sKitz is an amazing rapper. I've reacted to one of his tracks. Go check that out. I've had an awesome interview with him. Go listen to that as well. He has amazing things to say. But his lyrics are heavy, man. This guy does not shy away from talking about the hard stuff. Make sure to subscribe to sKitz. Subscribe here as well. And here we go. Side note. It's referred to, the song is called Momma's Husband, not stepdad, not my dad. No dad in this wording. Momma's Husband. That already kind of might be a little hint. Domestic violence accounts for 15% of all violent crimes in the United States. An estimated 1 in 4 U.S. children experience abuse or neglect at least once in their lifetime. If you or someone you know is experiencing domestic violence or abuse, help is available. Yes, thank you for shedding light on that. Nobody was harmed during the making of this video. I'm nervous. This is gonna be heavy, ain't it? Oh God, the blood on the frame.
Who is loving is a boy's best friend until that mother finds another friend to spend life with. It's kind of tough because it's not a choice that you get to make. But no matter how you feel, you gotta just live with. Your mama's boyfriend seemed to be a real cool guy at the start. He used to always bring a gift when he would get out the car. Sometimes a game, sometimes a ball, sometimes some trading cards. He used to tell your mama, lighten up, you're being too hard. But you got older, he got drunker, mama so deep in love. They finally tied the knot forever, but that wasn't enough. The first time that it ever happened, you were late for the bus. He was so pissed he had to drive instead of catching a buzz. Once you left and started driving, he just switched it all up. He said to lift both of your arms and push you right in the gut. He grabbed your neck and said, you're dead, you ever miss it again. Yeah, he was swerving, you was pleading, so we did it again. You almost puked, but if you did, you knew he'd kill you right then. Yeah, he could smell the fear off you, all you could smell was the gin. You thought the gin must be the reason why his temper is thin. You went to school and brushed it off, but you could not hold it in. Your head was racing, trying to figure out how all this just happened. You never saw him act like this, you were surprised by his actions. You tried to tell yourself it's cool, yeah, it won't happen again. But you've been wrong so many times, so what's the difference with this? Your teacher asked you what was wrong, but you just lied and said nothing. I guess she knew that you were bluffing, so she called Mama's husband. She started saying you've been quiet and been distant on subjects, and that you wasn't quite yourself, plus you was holding your stomach. So when you got back home from school, you figured you was in trouble, but you would never start to guess you'd be involved in a scuffle. You would never think your mom would end up beat for your actions, but I assume that's just what happens when you piss off an addict. You were small but did your best, but you and mom couldn't match it. Yeah, he was drunker than this morning, which is why he was laughing. He was having fun abusing, he was hella ecstatic. Your mom was bloodier than you, this fucking family's tragic. Over time it never stopped, you call it routine practice. So your mama started gambling to try and just mask it. All the pain, all the abuse, she knew she'd be in a casket. Both your lives forever changed, way worse than you could imagine. Yeah, this shit went on for years until you finally just had it. Used to plot inside your room, you hated him with a passion. Fantasizing about revenge that would be so everlasting. Say the same words every day cause you would never get past it. He touched me one more time, I'll be the skull till I smash it. Wrap his body up in plastic, then just dump it in acid. Those were thoughts you always had, yeah, you would sit and imagine. Maybe Sunday is the day you grab a gun and just blast him. Settle down, mama, please don't worry. Pray to God cause he knows what's going on. If we leave, I know that he can't hurt us. Be strong, mama, please keep holding on. You say we gotta stay, but I don't believe you. I'd run away, but I can't leave you alone with him because he's gon' kill you. So I just gotta do this on my own. Just gotta do this on my own. You're 42 22 and you done been through it all. Drug addiction, 2 divorces, kids that don't even call. But then you met the woman of your dreams and never once judged you. Was the life you always wanted even way back in high school. So you met her only son and was excited to raise him, cause his father never wanted to, so you could replace him. Things were great a couple years, but habits never do die. You started drinking more and more, was getting harder to hide. But she would look the other way cause you would work and provide a decent life for both their son and her with bread on the side. But lately she been kinda distant, focused more on her son. So you've been drinking more and more until it ain't even fun. A strong addiction mixed with anger causing shit to go bad. You're not confused on why you hate the son that you never had. He's getting older, growing bigger, soon he'll be a grown man. You start to roughen up the kid to show him how to use hands. But when you drink you're more aggressive, plus you're sending a message. A side of love don't overstress you, you're just teaching a lesson. He needs a father figure in his life through his adolescence. You're just a good ass fucking dude, you always give him your presents. But today he missed the bus again, that's twice in a week. You notice that he's getting lazy, thinking life is just sweet. His mother coddles him, so you believe she's raising him weak. Yeah, you're the only man he has, so man, you gotta just teach. You finally snapped and took your anger issues right out on him. You punched him over and again, cause you love feeling the sin. You know with every strike you make, it brings you back as a kid. Just like your father did to you when you were being a shit. But now the more you think of it, the more you get yourself pissed. You went from slapping across the head to quickly closing your fist. You start to get used to the thrill, so this shit goes on for years. But now he's getting to the point where he's not starting to fear. Your wifey hates you, but you tell her that you'll kill if she leaves. So now you feel the pressure from her son at night while you sleep. So one day you're just drinking heavy, watching TV on Sunday. Your wife is visiting her mom, but you're at home with her son. You start to hear him down the stairs, but you don't think nothing of it. But then you look and see his hand and that he's holding your gun. You asked him where'd he get your weapon, he says right where you left it. He's got some tears all in his eyes, but he's not sad, he's aggressive. He tells you lift your fucking arms and puts the gun to your stomach. He starts repeating all the times you left him bloody and busted. Tells you everything you know is true, now you start to plead. He hits your mouth with half the barrel, now you're starting to bleed. He takes a swig from out your bottle, lifts you off of your seat. He tells you this is where it ends and sets you down on your knees. He says you never were a father, you were just a disease. He puts the gun inside your mouth and says the bus gonna leave. He says don't worry, you won't miss it cause you're good with instruction. He says now look into the mirror by the wall where your lunch is. Staring at yourself, regretting all the bruises and punches that you laid down on the boy way back since he was a munchkin. Now he tells you say goodbye before you turn into nothing. And then he says now wave goodbye to mama's piece of shit husband. So you wave but then you realize you were never a husband. Yeah, you were never a father. Yeah, you amounted to nothing. No, this boy isn't a bitch, you realize you were the bitch. Yeah, this boy would never hit, it was just you that would hit. You finally came to realize now that it was you that was sick. But before you can admit, you hear your own gun click. Settle down, mama, please don't worry. Pray to God cause he knows what's going on. If we leave I know that he can't hurt us. Be strong, mama, please keep holding on. You say we gotta stay but I don't believe you. I'd run away but I can't leave you alone with him because he's gon' kill you. So I just gotta do this on my own.
Wow. Dang, man, sKitz. This was heavy. I don't think I've ever heard sKitz sing, so that was neat. And I like how he kept going to that chorus, tying the song together with a great hook, catchy, easy to remember, kind of stays stuck with you. Great storyteller. Check out my reaction to his song Session 9 and my talk with him. Amazing guy who has been through his share of struggles and, you know, dealt with mental distress and diagnoses, and just keeps finding creative ways to address heavy topics in a creative way instead of living off fantasies through violence and allowing himself to step into darkness. He uses his art, his ability to rap, his love for music to create and to shed light on heavy topics. And he's doing it again here. And it's interesting to see that mask that we see in some of his work to now come to light through this. And I feel like it lets us in on where it all started, if you will. I feel like it's taking us back in time. How much of these elements are personal to sKitz and his story, I don't know in detail, but I think that this is relatable to many, many people. As it said in the beginning, domestic violence affects many, many people. And the words Mama's husband, that being the title from the get-go, showcases that there's no reference to dad, neither biological nor stepdad, right? That person is not worthy of the word dad or father. This is Mama's husband, and it creates this distance, possibly even a dissociation, to say we are not a family. You are her husband. You guys married by law. That's how you relate to her, and that's why you were in my life. But I'm not related to you. I'm disassociating and disowning you and stepping away from that, separating myself. Amazing storytelling skill. I mean, the lyrics were clear. The cadence flow were straightforward, and I think that was helpful that both the track and his rap cadence flow were straightforward because the focus really was the story. There was not a lot of, wordplay, double entendres, games, and where you now have to slow down and go, wait a minute. He just wrapped that word and split the emphasis of the syllables in half and said the second half on the second line, and oh snap, ooh, right? This is a story, and you need to listen and pay attention, and there's a lot to take away from this. And so I like that it was a clear storytelling you could follow, yet still keeping you hooked on every line. The music video helping because it paints this picture, but even the lyrics clearly painting this picture of a child that is being abused, that is being beaten, suffering, growing into a young man now who's becoming violent and hostile, and eventually kills his mother's husband, who is abusing her to protect her, to keep her safe, because he's afraid for his mother's life, and he can't leave either, because he doesn't want to leave her behind, and she's not willing to go. And from the outside looking in, when we see these things and have never been through them, sometimes some people may find it easy to be like, well, why not just leave, right? Try to run away when he's drunk in the middle of the night. You see some of these movies and you plead with the actor or actress, with the character in a movie or in a book, to go, just go, right? It'll be scary. It might not be easy because the drunk person or the addict or the abuser might wake up, but there's still a chance, right? Get out, just go, just go. But it's not that easy. There's a lot of dynamics involved. Sometimes there's a financial dependency, the fear of a woman or a man to leave their spouse, to leave that partner, because they depend on them for food, shelter, for financial support. Sometimes there's a psychological aspect of codependency. Sometimes a lot of the victims have been through abuse in the past, or maybe gravitating towards the same type of person over and over again because they were abused by their parents, or they're drawn to the toxic. They don't think they deserve any better. They don't think they could do it on their own. Whatever they've been told or have storied to themselves, there's a codependence, perhaps that they hope their love will fix this person, or they tell themselves that the good outweighs the bad, or they cling to the nice moments, because even with the worst of predators and the worst of addicts, there's moments of happiness, right? There's different aspects depending on the person and the story and the family. But either way, this woman stays, and it paints this picture of why she was looking for love, why she hoped for a husband, and tells the boy's side. Then he switches and tells us this man's side. And I admire that too, because even though the man is the adult here and he's the villain, he's the bad guy, he's the adult who should do better. And this is a child, right? There's an imbalance of power and a dynamic where one can't just dismiss what the adult is doing by saying, well, this adult was a boy once and he's been hurt, so let's understand why he's an abusive, deadbeat piece of crap right now. No, they have to be held accountable. But it still paints a story of what this man is going through and how he came to the place he is at. And it really paints this picture of how complex everyone's life is and how easy it is to fall into that darkness, both for the son, who is trying to save his mom and save himself, who's growing into a young man who's giving now into his anger and revenge and murdering this man. Even though, it feels very valid and justifiable, he is still killing him. And at the same time, it also showcases this man's story and how this man, having been through divorce, having had hope for a new wife and a new family and a son, now his old patterns are hard to fight. And this old self, the addiction, comes back up, and he's giving into his darkness. And now he hits this child once, and there's that adrenaline kick. And when you give in to things, it's easier and easier to keep going closer and closer to that fire until you drown, until you have gone so much into sin, into shame, into bad choices that you almost feel like you can't get out anymore. You can't be anything else. It's almost too late to go backward. And that's why I think this song is also not just addressing, shedding light on the horrors of domestic violence and the things that are really happening. Maybe Skitz Kraven's way of processing and putting in writing and in song the things that he's fantasized about and wanted to do. But also it sheds light on the topic to raise awareness, and for each and every one of us to have a takeaway, which is that we don't want that everyone's story is as complex as our own, but that also it's so important to not give into that darkness, because whatever that looks like for every one of us, it will only lead to death. It will only lead to further pain and destruction, and it will have consequences for other people. Very, very heavy, but very powerful. Really well done, Skitz. Check out his YouTube, my other reaction of his and interview with him, and I'll see you on the next ride. What do you think about this one? Comment below. Ayo!